Good morning, Exorcists. Time for your daily archive reminder. Idol, our friend. Type 2, fused middle-aged businessman. Subject recently divorced and estranged from adult children. Started populist cult Church of Family, promising close family connections and revival through community events. Flourished for many years through as a large and prosperous organization until detected by Seer after multiple kidnapping cases. Time to execution 3 hours and 35 minutes. Casualties. Deprogramming extensive. While those directly under the idol might be freed after its execution, those around it, well, that's harder to deal with. Anywho, happy hunting. As above, so below. Hello, welcome to the CAIN After Chats. And today we're talking about our second idol, our friend. We have an actual classic cult, not a situation of idols or fans, but just an actual cult. Cult leader, private, compound somewhere, the whole shtick. Though also to quickly cover what these chats and these smaller videos are for. This is just an excuse to look at the rules, the domains, seeing what possible combinations there are for some of the stuff in the archives. To get the gears going for both the admin and to refresh the players on, as an exorcist, what they're expected to be bumping into. Because you are trained by CAIN to recognize some of these things. Anywho, on to the traumas of the idol, a thing that birthed this. So, based off that description, we kinda got a lot of it. It's a lot more straightforward, at least the way I'm seeing it. That dream is a happy family and success. Failed businessman, recently divorced, estranged from adult children. It's not going well for our host when their sin manifested. I think giving up on the dream is the combination of all those things. The combination of being like the breadwinner or holding a household together when just every bit of that fell apart. The business failing, the divorce, the kids estranged, and eventually snap, or in this case, manifest. But a fun bit for question 3, why do you think you're incapable of being loved? Based off the actions of what this idol does after, it's not any kind of immediate success or wealth or this idea of the business needed to be successful. You could have an idol or a toad do a different form of that. No, this was connection. It was wanting to be there for the family. A closer connection, activities, it's the way the cult is being run. That promise of connection, of bonds, of being loved. But onto what was spawned from these traumas, the proper manifestation itself. An idol type 2, with no further clarifications or specifics. No cat listed, no weird situation, it's just a classic possession. I say classic. But to the physical appearance, it's the whole shtick of the idol. They're not really going to be tearing apart the host's body, changing it to some kind of weapon like a hound. No, they're making it that presentable, that ideal form of themselves, and in this form, a fatherly leaderish figure. A pleasant face, a wide shining grin and smile. Meant to be welcoming, not intimidating, not super glamorous or pomp. Cult leader. Classic cult leader. And I am claiming the smile as a part of the manifestation, not just something it's doing in that image, because everyone else in the image is also smiling. That permanent happy grin. That welcome. Though a good point to mention about this manifestation, that isn't its direct stats, but how long it lasted. So yes, there's sin events. Usually when you begin your hunt proper, you've either pushed a sin into a corner, or that's when Seer could finally detect it. Either because of its actions, or because of some psionic influence that can be felt across the psychic sea. Before that point though, our friend shows sins can last years without being detected. At least. Or maybe not at least, but our friend had lasted multiple years. And not in hiding either. Again, it's an idol. Maybe in isolation on a compound somewhere, but it was a large, known organization. It was only detected by the mundane branches of Seer after multiple kidnapping cases tying back to it. Good old Church of Family, which just adds another alarming position on how long these sins can last and what ones might be out there right now that we just don't know, or CAIN doesn't even know about yet. Undetected, but still building up, gaining cat. In the case of an idol, influence, power, cultists. And speaking of those cultists, the casualties and the deprogramming, the other messier bits of an idol. While the number of casualties is still redacted on the actual document itself, or the PDF, you can see the little bits of the original number, and it's in the 50s. It's a lot of people dead. Not to mention the other half of it, of the deprogramming extensive, the fact that, yes, there's the inner circle that were the proper cultists. In the idol definition of cultists, the one that are its fragments, its traces, probably what's in the image there. But the other listed deprogrammings, the fact that this was a full organization that had lasted for years. There were Well, most of them started as honest converts to whatever was being talked of, preached. Mundane members of the Church of Family, even still. You got rid of the idol, but they've been here for years. Though, in speaking of said cultists, onto the domains. And these I'm pretty solid on, namely because these are the ones that focus around the cult or the influence, because it's not just a very obvious, large, prominent cult with the Church of Family, but also connected, a known organization lasting years. Beginning with Toys for Men. This is where I'm pulling in the smiles, that they are all altered in some way. And this isn't only for the smiles, this is for the origins, those original traumas. While his wife and children grew older and apart from him, he was not going to let that happen to his cultists. Or at least the sin, our friend, wasn't going to let that happen. They were going to be a perfect family, the Church of Family. And with Collect Doll, you could be a new member of said family, or at least a part of you. This also ties into the fact that the cultists definitely got into a fight with the sheer number of casualties. And for our second complication, Hold My Darlings. Another cult-focused one. This is again part of that control, the smiles across everyone's faces, and again tying back into the sheer number of casualties, with sharing the damage. If you hurt me, you hurt the family. This also makes it difficult for anyone within the cult, even before Exorcists or a threat arrives, to lie, or turn against the cult, or you have a spy through every eye, or most eyes. And lastly, this is probably the loosest of the bunch, the strong-scented lips of a whispering god. This is less about the cult itself, or our friend in particular, and more the fact it's an organization, and one that lasted years and got away with stuff. Again, multiple kidnapping cases to catch the attention of Seer. There could have been more unknown, part of the prosperity of the cult might have been things shady in the background. Not to mention, the cultists are now armed and supplied. They're a small cult compound. Not entirely crazy to think that they have some short-range firearms and body armor and equipment. And a public place. Well, at least a known place, the Church of Family. It's an organization, so if you're screwing around with that, you're gonna catch the attention of someone, tying into that exposure. And for the Affliction, I think infatuated. Not necessarily in a love sense, but the idea of this is the one forcing teamwork. It's that connection of family, that bond that our friend wants. That one's pretty much a shoo-in. The Palace is difficult though, because I'm in two minds about it. Yes, you could go with the classic church route, because again, it's a cult, Church of Family, but you also have the family route. This whole thing spawned from losing connection with his family. But they are also an honest cult. I mean, do you see the robes he's in? So the Palace could be a strange mix, an extension of the central chapel of some kind, or meeting grounds within the compound, that just goes on as a place that's both comfortable, lived in, but still in praise of what they're doing. This greater good, our friend, this connection between all of us. With multiple pictures of smiling faces, fine windows that appear out to nowhere but have light flooding in and warming the room. And so many smiling faces to greet you. It's comfortable, it's calming. Sit down and rest. Our friend isn't trying to necessarily, yes, it's still the center of attention, it's an idol, but it's attempting to put the cult forward, again, heavy cult focus, having members of its inner circle come in here, and this acting as proof as to what they're doing, or the higher end goals, whatever the cult is doing. But that's probably the one I'm the least set on, out of everything else listed here, but you tell me. What do you think? These are all just suggestions, some of my own thoughts, an excuse to look at some of the domains and other features of these sins. But as our Temerity Archivist says, happy hunting. As above, so below.